Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I just thought I would show you some memorabilia I've got about Davie Jones and the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Long-Haired Men. So in November 1964, David started this small society, which included George Underwood, his mate, as well, for guys with long hair. It was all a bit of a spoof and a bit of a spin to gain some publicity for him and his band at that point, which was the Manish Boys. But the press got hold of the story, and so did the BBC. And in fact, in November 1964, David's even interviewed by Cliff Mitchell-Moore, who's a middle-aged sort of BBC presenter, and he's interviewed about his hair. It's on YouTube, and it was on the Tonight Show on BBC. Quite an interesting little interview. And it is all spin by Bowie. Quite clever, really. He got a lot of publicity out of it, and the newspapers got hold of it. And the first one that really got hold of it was the Daily Mirror. And on Thursday, March the 4th, as you can see in the top left-hand corner there, 1965, he gets a nice image in the paper. And there you can see the accompanying article. Pop singer Davie Jones, pictured above, has been ordered to get his long blonde locks trimmed. The order comes from Barry Langford, producer of BBC Two's pop show Gazooks. Now, Barry Langford was actually in on the spoof as well. And if Davie doesn't obey, he will be barred from Gazooks on Monday. He was to top the bill launching his new disc, I Pity the Fool. Last night, Davie, who comes from Bromley in Kent, said, "I've said that I have no intention of having my hair cut. Mr. Langford has left the matter open until Friday in case I change my mind, but I won't." Mr. Langford, 39, said, "Kids today just don't want this long hair business anymore," which of course they did. In the 70s, everybody had long hair in the early 70s. So there you go, that was the Daily Mirror. Now, as you probably know, many newspapers bring out different editions of the same paper on the same day. So that was the first edition of the Daily Mirror on Thursday, March the 4th, 1965. And in their second edition, the story has actually got bigger and bigger. So not only does Davie get a larger image, but it's also on the back page of the Mirror. And he gets more text as well. So pop singer Davie Jones, pictured above, is ordered to get his long blonde locks trimmed. The order comes from Barry Langford, producer of BBC's Two's pop show Gazooks. And if Davie doesn't obey, he will be barred from that show on Monday. Victimised. He was to have topped the bill launching his new disc, I Pity the Fool. Last night, Davie, who comes from Bromley, said, "I've no intention of having my hair cut. Mr. Langford has left the matter open until Friday in case I change my mind, but I won't." Then he added, "I wouldn't get my hair cut off for the Queen. I feel I'm being victimised. Look at all the other pop groups with long hair. What about them?" Mr. Langford, 39, said, "Kids today just don't want this long hair business anymore. For his own sake, Davie should have a haircut." There you go. Now, also, in this edition of the Radio Times, which is the Midland edition, and it's March the 6th to the 12th, 1965, there is an image of David with the Manish Boys. And there they are, all set to appear on Gazooks. It's all happening. And Davie Jones and the Manish Boys, who are appearing tonight, are likely to come into this category, which is a change of scene, of course. So there you go. All the boys are from Maidstone in Kent, except for 18-year-old Davie, who hails from Bromley. Interestingly, they've spelled Davie with a Y there. The group contains 2 tenor saxophones, one played by Davie Jones himself, a baritone sax, a lead guitar, bass guitar, organ and drums. There you go. And they have apparently produced another new sound, and that's their main claim to fame at the moment. So that's quite rare, that edition of Radio Times. Also on top of all that, Mr. Bowie appears in the Evening News, which is a London newspaper, with his hairdresser, or a hairdresser, having his hair set and having a net, as you can see, put on his head, which in those days was very rare for a man to have that done. And this is the Evening News and Star, Monday the 8th of March 1965. And there he is. Hairdresser Sylvia Halliday places a net over the head of singer Davie Jones for a set after trimming his long blonde locks in readiness for tonight's television pop show Gadzooks on BBC Two. Davie, who sings with the Manish Boys pop group, was ordered to have his hair cut last week by producer Barry Langford. Don't forget what I said, that Barry Langford is actually in on this ruse. He said, "Kids today just don't want this long hair business anymore. Davie and his group are launching their new disc, I Pity the Fool, on tonight's programme." So there you go, that's the story of Davie Jones and the long hair, and a great publicity stunt, which actually got a hell of a lot of coverage for, to be honest. So a lot of press. There were other local press as well who got hold of the story, who produced articles about it. But there you go. So you've got the London Evening News, the Radio Times, and the Daily Mirror, both from back in the day. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this. And please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and of course let me have your comments as well. I'd be very interested to see them. Thank you very much, folks.